And I think there's a real danger of these kind of extrinsic rewards, all the stuff outside, the grades, the performance measures, and so on, literally stealing your intrinsic rewards. There's this funny phenomenon in psychology where if you have something that's intrinsically rewarding, so let's say exercise, right? Like I want to go out and you need to run like a bunch, right? I love running. I get this intrinsic reward from running. Now I get some sort of tool, whether it's my watch or something, and I have to log my running. Now it becomes a sort of extrinsic reward. It's not just a feeling of running, but it takes on this extrinsic idea. The fiction writer David Sedaris has this wonderful article called The Fitbit Life, where he talks about how he wanted to get fit. It's intrinsic reward of exercising more. And he got the Fitbit, and then it was all about the Fitbit. It would set the level higher and higher. And he was miserable and no longer enjoying running, to the point that at some point he just would walk around, shaking his arm just to get up to those final steps. That's a really terrible case where your extrinsic reward winds up taking over. But so many of the cases you just talked about are ones in our real life where that comes up much more insidiously than with a Fitbit or something like that. You talked about play in mammals, the easiest thing that little kid animals do all over the place. Little kid humans don't do that as much anymore because even from really young ages, they're in toddler university where they're kind of learning things to get into the next grade and get the perfect grade so they can get into institutions like ours, right? It all becomes about extrinsic rewards. And so I think you're really right. We're kind of extrinsicizing all the rewards to the point that we're not getting to internal happiness. It was hard already to pay attention to that stuff. It's hard to be mindful about your emotions. You really have to pay attention to what's going on. But I think it's gotten even harder because we have these metrics. They're all over the place in our culture, but they're just not the intrinsic thing. There's some extrinsic marker that could make the intrinsic thing even less fun.